In this video, I will talk about the if statement in shell programming. The if statement is similar to many other programming languages. You have here the if keyword, you have a condition, then keyword, and then you have here a block of instructions that will be executed if this condition is true. And you can also have an elif condition. This will execute if this condition is false and this is true, and then you have an else that will be executed if none of the conditions is true. As you can see, it's very similar to many other programming languages. And what are the tricks here? What are the special things of the if statement in shell programming? The first thing is the condition. Remember the condition? You can define a condition using the single bracket or the double bracket syntax. You can use both of them in the if statement. You can mix them, for example, using here a single bracket and here a double bracket syntax, but that's not useful. That's not very common because if you use the double bracket syntax, probably you will be using it in all the script, but anyway, you can do it. And this is the first thing. The second important thing is that the then must be placed in a different line than the if. So, for example, this won't be correct. This will generate a syntax error. But if you want to have the then in the same line, you can put here a semicolon. The a semicolon is like a command separator for shell. So this is like this. The part following the semicolon is like it was defined in a different line. So you can do this here this way with a semicolon and then, or you can have here the condition and the then in a different line. So let's use a simple example. For example, we could I can use whatever I want for the conditional expressions. For example, I have here a number, and I can check single bracket syntax number less than 10. Remember that in single bracket syntax, I will need to add here just in case some quotes, because if number contained some spaces, this will generate a syntax error in our script. So anyway, I will be using double bracket syntax here. I don't want this script to be compatible with other cells. Here, then I will execute here some instructions. For example, this will be run when the first condition is true, and you can put here whatever you want. I'm just using echo for simplicity, and I can add here another condition. This will be condition 2, this will be condition 1, condition 2. I can, for example, I can use this condition, and then I could write here the rest of the a very simple example. Okay, a very simple example. I need the then, or it won't work. So you can think for a second what it will do, and if I put a 5 here and I run the script, okay, the first condition is met, so the first block is executed. Okay, this is not very useful, but take in account that this I just here a variable, but I can, for example, assign to the variable one of the parameters of the function, or I can do some computations. For example, here I can do a sum or a division or whatever, or I can check here, for example, with the .f, use some file test, for example, to test if a file exists. I can combine using and, or, everything that we have seen in conditional expressions, and I can also use command substitution. For example, I could put here the, for example, the pvd exit. So if, for example, I could do if the current directory, sorry, this will be the command. If the current directory equals, for example, home user, then we are in the home directory. In the home directory. In this case, this won't make sense, and I could miss here whatever I want. Okay, and another important thing is that you can skip some parts of the if statement. For example, I don't need to use an elif. This could be writing this way. I don't need this. This will be the simplest way of creating an if statement. And you can also have nested expressions, nested if statements in cell programming. For example, I could use here and put here if user and root, for example. Remember, I can put the end here and then do something if the user is root and whatever. Okay, and that's it. It's not very different from other computer languages. Important thing, write correct sentences, correct conditional expression here, then in the next line, and that's all for the if statement in shell programming.